Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at Arceus VSTAR with Giratina VSTAR. Now right off the bat you're probably going to notice I'm not in my usual setup because I am not at my house right now, but I still want to make a video on this deck, so I have kind of a makeshift setup here. So let's just go ahead and take a look at the list. Obviously the idea of this deck is just to use Arceus to easily power up the kind of awkward attack cost of the Giratina VSTAR, the grass second colorless. And then once you power that up with the Arceus, you can use Lost Impact to deal 290 damage, and you have to put 2 energy attached to Pokemon in the Lost Zone. But Arceus also uses double turbo energy. So not only can you power up the Giratina with the Arceus, you can also actually use the extra double turbos double turbo energies you have in the deck with Lost Impact to just consistently do damage with only having to discard 1 energy and 1 attachment. You can just reattach another double turbo energy the next turn. And since it says Lost Zone from your Pokemon, it means that you can use the resources that are already attached to a damaged Arceus, and you don't have to also have double turbo energy attached to the Giratina to reduce the Giratina's damage. Because if it's not attached to Giratina, it's not reducing the damage, but you're still getting those 2 energies to Lost Zone. This kind of is a lot like the Arceus Charizard deck, except Giratina is worth fewer prizes, and it has the V-Star power that can be kind of useful if you somehow get to use it. I don't know. The V-Star power is okay, but in this deck specifically, we're almost never getting 10 in the Lost Zone. Let's just get right into the list, starting off with 2 Arceus V-Star and 4 Arceus V, so a 4-2 line. That's because we're only really going to be using 1 Arceus, maybe 2, as just the vehicle to get our Giratina rolling. Once we get our Giratina rolling, the Arceus is kind of like an endgame attacker after our 1 Giratina is knocked out. We only really play the resources to get 1 Giratina rolling, but since the Giratina is just a one-shot machine, 1 will usually probably be enough in combination with the 2 shots that Arceus gives you already. And of course, the Giratina V-Star, we're running a 2-2 line of the Giratina V-Star as well. Like I mentioned, the V-Star power of Star Requiem probably not going to be too useful in this deck, or this list, I should say, because we only run 1 Comfey, we run 1 Colress, so there's not too many ways to get cards in the Lost Zone, but if you can somehow manage it while also not using Star Breath already, then it can be really, really powerful and game swinging. But Star Breath is going to be the V-Star power you're going to be going for almost 100% of games, I feel like. And then the engine in the deck, we're running up a Bibarel engine. So that's going to be, of course, a 2-2 Bibarel. We also have, alongside the Bibarel, a new card, and that's going to be the Banette. And I actually think this Banette is really good. I was thinking about it. This card just does a lot. Not only does it get supporters back, so you can kind of be greedy with your supporters, like playing only 1 boss, things like that, but also can Roxanne proof you too. I already have the Bibarel in this specific deck to Roxanne proof you, but in the other list that I posted a couple days ago, that didn't have the Bibarel and just a Banette, if you're worried about Roxanne, you can just evolve into a Banette, and then it's literally impossible for you to get stuck with Roxanne unless they boss a 1-prizer, which just is bad. So that's going to be pretty solid too. So we're running a 2-2 line of the Banettes in this deck as well to accompany the Bibarel as our draw engine. And literally every single draw supporter we play in this deck, or supporter in this deck, is only a 1-of. And that's just so we can take advantage of this Banette's ability to get back supporters, so we can be a little bit greedy on our supporter counts. We have a couple other 1-of Pokemon. We have 1 copy of the new Cramorant that has the Lost Supply ability that says if you have 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone, then this Pokemon's attacks just cost nothing. So you can do Convincing Spit for 0 energy cost. It does 110 damage, not affected by weakness. So essentially just 0 energy, 110. It's not a bad way to just finish off a Pokemon that's been already hit with an Arceus. And 4 cards in the Lost Zone is a lot more manageable than 10. Because you have, like I mentioned, you have the Colress, and you, of course, just a couple lost, what's that called? I forgot what the Giratina, anyway, the Giratina's first attack is called. That also gets energy in the Lost Zone, so it's really not hard to power up a Cramorant or get enough cards in the Lost Zone to attack with the Cramorant. And we also have one copy of Comfey as well, which is just overall a solid card. Flower picking, letting you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand and lost on the other. So I think an Acrobike when it's active, pretty solid little Pokemon to just have any active after something's getting knocked out. One copy of Diancie to prevent your Pokemon from getting bossed if you're going second. And then finally, one copy of Radiant Greninja, because this, or sorry, not Radiant Greninja, Radiant Hawlucha, because this does allow your Giratina to hit 2 Mew VMAX numbers. And in the other list that I posted, the reason that it did not have the Radiant Hawlucha is because with that list, you're a lot more able to pull off the Star Requiem to instant KO a Mew. You can just like 2-shot the other Mew, or 1-shot a Meloetta and then boss kill a Genesect. But this one, not only do you have the power of Arceus behind you, but you also have the power of being able to 1-shot the Mew with the Radiant Hawlucha and Choice Belt as well in the list, so you can get past Oricorio. It's just in the other list, you felt super turboed out, and you didn't really have the room to include a Choice Belt and a Radiant Hawlucha just to 1-shot a Mew. But in this list, we do have the rooms we're going to play the one Radiant Hawlucha. And then our supporters. We have one copy of Professor's Research and one copy of Marnie as the main draw supporters. And also one copy of Colress's Experiment. And then all the other supporters we have are like little techie options. We have one copy of Peonia that we can fish cards out of our prizes. We have a couple one-off Pokemon here. Maybe we need our second Banette. Or maybe prize our Choice Belt, something like that. Peonia can help us get that out, and we can reuse it if we miss the card that we're looking for. One copy of Roxanne can give us a little bit of comeback potential, and just Roxanne is just a really solid card in general. In the late game, Shuffle Draw 6 is not bad, and Roxanne does give us that as well as disruption to our opponent. One copy of Gardenia's Vigor. Now, this is I think a pretty good use for Gardenia's Vigor. In this deck, because we're having the Giratina, we're already running the Grass Energy, which means that if we whiff turn attachment to our Arceus turn 1, we're still able to attack turn 2 because we can Starbirth for all the pieces we need to pull off a Gardenia's Vigor, attach double Turbo Energy for turn. And it just slots really nicely into that as that little option there if you do miss the energy turn 1. And so yeah, it's also at the very worst, Gardenia's just draw 2, which is not that bad when you also have the Bibarel to rely on as draw as well. All right, our last draw supporter is one copy of Boss's Orders. Now going into our items, they're pretty standard for a Bibarel deck. 4 copies of Quick Ball, because we need to be able to find our basics. We're really looking for 3 main basics on turn 1. That's going to be Arceus, Bidoof, and Shuppet. The Giratina, we can afford to find that on turn 2 and evolve on turn 3 to the V-Star. But we just want to have the maximum chance of getting all those guys down. If you can get a Giratina down too, that's also nice. Also 4 copies of Ultra Ball, and standard Barrel stuff. 4 Quick Ball, 4 Ultra Ball. We have a couple other item cards. 2 copies of Fog Crystal, because this can just give us more out the energy turn 1, but it's also a way to find Shuppet on turn 1, or maybe our Diancie or Comfey. There's a lot of really decent targets in this deck for the Fog Crystal, and more outs for turn 1 energy as well is going to be super nice as well. We have 2 copies of Evolution Incense, because we're wanting to get 2 evolutions on turn 2, ideally Arceus and Bibarel, and Evolution Incense alongside the Ultra Balls will help us do that. Then we have 2 copies of Switch, so we don't have to retreat off that double Turbo Energy into our Giratina. Instead, we can stay at that double Turbo Energy to Lost Zone it with the Giratina's attack. We have a couple one-of item cards as well. 1 copy of Lost Sweeper to remove paths in play, maybe, or to remove our opponent's tools like Choice Belts that can potentially threaten a 1-hit KO on our Arceus, things like that. 1 copy of Big Charm. Also give our Arceus and Giratina a little bit more HP, specifically for the Mew matchup, just because you can have a hard time dealing with like a 310 HP 2-prizer and then 2 more 280 HP 2-prizers. And Big Charm just really gives us the edge in that matchup. 1 copy of Hisuian Heavy Ball to fish out things we might need out of the prizes, like our second Shuppet or our Cramorant for needing that. Maybe we had to discard a Giratina for some reason and we needed to get our other one out of the prizes. Things, just situations like that, Heavy Ball is really useful for. 1 copy of a Choice Belt. We can, like I mentioned, reach onto Mew VMAX. Even if they have Oricorio in play alongside the Radiant Hawlucha, it can reach for KOs on Evolving Vs that have 210 HP on the Arceus, things like that. Then we have one copy of Air Balloon as well, just to accompany our switches and our switching outs. We have a couple stadium cards, one copy of Path to Peak, and one copy of Lost City. Lost City is just a solid card. This is all stadium card. And yeah, it's just a good card and not a bad counter stadium either. And then one copy of Path to Peak. Obviously, Path is strong versus a lot of different decks. And then for our energy, we're going to be having 4 Double Turbo Energy, 3 Psychic Energy, and 3 Grass Energy. And the reason we're not running more Basic Energy is because in this list, we don't have to Lost Zone our Basic Energy. We can Lost Zone just 1 Double Turbo Energy with the Lost Purge on the Giratina. I think that's what it's called, and it might be called Lost Purge. I'm not sure. With the attack on the Giratina, I don't know why it's been blanking me, but we only have to Lost Zone a Double Turbo Energy, so we don't have to Lost Zone like multiple Basic Energy that often. So we can kind of be greedy in our energy as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for the list, guys. If you guys liked it, don't forget to leave a like. If you guys want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. I do videos like this all the time. So if you're looking for more content like this, do please subscribe. And that's to do it. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one.